Hi, everybody. I'm out here in my garden and it's after work. I got home, I ate 3 tacos, and I got on a phone call with the author of Daughter of God, The Orphan, Rich Kopacz. Had a very, very good conversation with him. We're actually going to do a podcast this coming weekend as long as everything goes well. And I really hope that you will tune in and listen to what we have to say. I'm pretty excited about it. This was an absolutely amazing book. I really, really did enjoy it. And I think that you would really enjoy listening to some of his thoughts. You don't really get a lot of times to listen to an author's thoughts. I think it's worthwhile, and I will be doing that. I might be in Vegas doing it. I don't know. My person has ideas of what they want to do this weekend, and I will go wherever, and luckily cameras go with, so that's always good. I had this discussion with him. He had some very good valid comments for me on my book Abigail. When I wrote Abigail, my best friend Rachel, her mother Linda Sparks, she's also an author, and I'm actually reading one of her books right now. It's called The Ghost of Space. She asked me if I would write a story for her to include in her book Monsters Ball. She has a compilation of stories in there, mostly written by her, but there's also some written by her daughter Heidi, and there's one by me. I wrote Abigail with the intent of it just being a small short story, and as I was writing it, it turned into something else. It grew. With every one of Abigail's characters, I just wanted to know more about them. I wanted to understand them better. And so I had to keep going. And so the book grew. It went from character to character. And what did they do? And where did they come from? And I was just very into it. Well, Rich had some very good comments. I'm going to go over a few of them with you that I thought were actually pretty on point. And, as a writer, it's good to get constructive criticism. And it's not even really criticism. It's just you're collaborating. You're bouncing ideas off of each other. And that can only help your story. So I appreciate it. Some of the things that he said that really stuck out to me were, let's see, he mentioned that I said on the back cover page that this was a Southern Gothic tale, and that was the intent of it. I don't know if and I tend to agree with him. I didn't quite hit the mark on that one. When I wrote Abigail, my intention was after the Monsters Ball part. My intention was to take each character that has a chapter of themselves and to delve deeper into that character later on. I don't know how much later on because I do work 40 hours and I don't have a lot of downtime. But that was my intent. So you may feel like some of the characters are surface level, and that was kind of all that I could do for this. This was like an introduction piece to each of the characters. So that was my response to that, because he was right. There could have been so much more with each of the characters. I liked that a lot. He did also mention that in a Southern Gothic tale, there's more grief and guilt and just deep, deep despair types of feelings that are associated with a Southern Gothic tale. So I I do know that I felt that there were those aspects, but I also do agree that it could have been more, it could have been more hard hitting. So I'm going to take a relook at that so that as I write follow on books, then I can include that and I can make sure that I just really take it to where it could be. One of his comments was about Nzinga, who I described as just exquisitely beautiful and humble beyond what was the word, with a humbleness that overwhelmed. And I understand. He was confused as far as like, what does that mean? Well, have you ever met someone that is just absolutely stunning? and they just don't know it. Or maybe they do, but they just realize that that doesn't matter, that beauty fades, and we have to be more than that. I would think, I would hope. So that's where I was going with that, but I do understand that it could have been taken as a little over the top. So I did appreciated all of his comments. They were actually very good, and I'm looking forward to the next discussion that I have with him. He's very insightful, and you can see that for sure when you're reading his books. Just very detailed, and really just brings you in to the story, what's happening. Please keep your eyes and ears peeled for the upcoming podcast, where I will be talking with Rich Kopacz, and we will be discussing maybe all of his novels, but for sure this one. This is the one that I read. I still have to get the other ones. And we will be asking him some questions that will really, really get him thinking and really help you to understand him as a writer, which I think is important. So many times we read books and we have no idea who the person was that wrote it. And as I read books by the local authors, Billy Starbuck, my cousin, Linda Sparks, my best friend's mother, I read them and I know those people. And so I understand it a little bit better, and I can see where they've pulled their ideas from. So it's very helpful, and it kind of just it makes it more real when you're reading it. It makes it feel like you're a part of their story, which you kind of are. I'm part of Billy's story. I grew up with him and played Wonder Woman to his Superman, and I'm a part of Linda's story. I was at her house so many times playing Barbies with Rachel and just having our little fairy tale imaginary things going on. Bottom line, I'll be having a podcast hopefully this weekend, as long as all goes well. And I really hope that I see you there. Please remember to like, share, follow, subscribe, all the things. I will see you later.